The Book of Boba Fett has finally come to a close, as the famous bounty hunter rallies his forces for battle against the Pike Syndicate and its enforcer, Cad Bane. The series goes in some interesting directions in Chapter 5 and Chapter 6, which heavily focus on the Mandalorian Din Djarin, the Yoda lookalike Grogu, and the legendary Luke Skywalker. But the finale brings everything back to Tatooine, as Boba's battle with the Pikes escalates into an all-out war across Mos Espa. Does the finale have ramifications for the wider Star Wars universe? More importantly, does it tease what's coming up ahead in The Mandalorian Season 3? Well, sort of.
For now,
we wait.
The tension on Tatooine cranks up from the very beginning of the final Season 1 episode, as Boba, Fennec Shand, and the Mandalorians survey the Sanctuary wreckage. R.I.P. Garzwa Fwip. Boba also faces an emotional blow, as Bane reveals that the Pikes are actually the ones who killed the Tusken tribe, not the Nikto Sandriders. The massacre is revenge for their attack on the spice train. All of this only hardens Boba's determination to rid Tatooine of the Syndicate once and for all. But when the battle for Mos Espa gets started, writer Jon Favreau and director Robert Rodriguez deliver a pulse-pounding fight for the very soul of Tatooine. Luckily, Boba, Din, and Fennec aren't alone in their struggle. The big cliffhanger at the end of Chapter 6 sees Luke Skywalker offer Grogu a choice. He can either take the Beskar chainmail and return to Din Djarin, or he can pick Yoda's old lightsaber and train to become a fully fledged Jedi. On one hand, it would be great to see him train in the Force and master his abilities, but we all know that he really belongs with his surrogate father. Thankfully, Favreau gives fans what they want, as R2-D2 lands Luke's X-Wing in Pelimoto's hangar, with Grogu sitting comfortably in the pilot seat. Because Grogu's memory is clouded, he doesn't have many meaningful connections. And although Luke and Ahsoka Tano are kind to him, he's got a much closer bond with Din. At least his brief time with Luke means he already has a better grip on his Force abilities than he did before, which is quite useful when the streets of Mos Espa erupt into a deadly firefight when the other gangs of the city betray their treaty with Boba, attacking Boba's enforcers. It's not exactly surprising, since the different factions are clearly just out for money rather than respect. Although, things start to look dire when the hordes of Pikes deploy 2 deadly Scorpionic droids. Oh dear. Nevertheless, Boba has some other backup to rely on. The devastating power of the Scorpionic droids causes chaos in the battle because their shields are too strong for Boba's army to blast through with any of their weapons. Din Djarin even whips out the Darksaber to try to penetrate the shields, but it has no effect at all, although he probably needs some more training to carry its weight. But then, the finale pays off on Chapter 3's promise as Boba finally rides his Rancor into battle. The monster's power quickly overwhelms the first Scorpionic droid, with a little help from Grogu. Luke's training comes in handy for the little green Force user, as he yanks a key component from the droid's parts that makes it vulnerable. Grogu clearly has a fondness for shiny metal objects, because it's pretty reminiscent of the way he grabs that ball from the Razor Crest in The Mandalorian Season 1. After the Rancor finishes the first droid off, Boba steers it to the second, quickly eviscerating it. The destruction of the droids and the sheer power of the Rancor sends the Pikes running, which is a nice piece of symbolism. Tatooine is taking itself back from its oppressors. Although it's not over just yet, as Cad Bane shows his face again to try to kill Boba. Cad Bane's arrival at the end of Chapter 6 calls back to the Western genre, which George Lucas was originally inspired by when creating Star Wars back in the 70s. Director Robert Rodriguez leans into the gunslinging genre once again for Boba Fett's duel with Bane in the finale, as they trade insults in a tense standoff. Bane even points out they've known each other a long time, calling back to the times they crossed paths during the Clone Wars animated series. Bane makes it clear that he might be an old man, but he's still quicker than Boba when it comes to a quick-draw gunfight. For a minute, it even looks like Bane might kill Boba.
Look out for yourself. Anything else is weakness.
But this is Boba Fett, so he doesn't go down that easily. Instead, he uses his gaffy stick to swiftly knock Bane to the ground, symbolizing how his new strength comes from having a family. He even avenges his fallen Tusken tribe by killing Bane with the stick. Sure, he's a fan-favorite villain, but his death has been a long time coming. Cad Bane's death causes the few remaining Pikes to retreat. Let's face it, if he can't take Boba Fett down, who can? So it looks like this is a new era for Tatooine now that the crime lord has liberated the planet from the Pike Syndicate. Fennec Shand even wipes out that gang's last foothold on the planet by killing their leader and executing Mayor Mok Shays. Leaving either of them alive would mean that the spice trade on Tatooine could start up again. Sometime after the big battle, Fett reacts uncomfortably to the Mos Espa residents bowing and calling him Lord Boba. He remarks to Fennec that they're not cut out to rule. A surprising comment considering everything they've gone through to get here. However, this is a new role for Fett, murderous bounty hunter turned local hero. Fennec responds,
"If not us, then who?"
The finale ends with Din flying his Naboo starfighter through space as Grogu sits in the pod behind him. The little green Force user even pesters him to fly at high speeds, and Din, like any parent, reluctantly obliges. It's not clear where they're headed, although it's possible Din wants to redeem himself in the waters of Mandalore underneath the planet's mines. Of course, it wouldn't be a Disney Plus series if there wasn't a post-credits scene teasing the future of the galaxy. The brief scene takes audiences back to Boba's quarters, where Cobb Vanth is recuperating in the gunslinger's bacta tank, where the modifier from Chapter 4 is keeping an eye on him. This clearly suggests that Vanth is severely wounded when shot by Cad Bane, but not killed. It'll be interesting to see how the modification artist fixes his injuries, although he's definitely going to need some new armor to wear instead of just a shirt and a bandana. Maybe Din Djarin can give him some spare Beskar in The Mandalorian Season 3. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about the Book of Boba Fett are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.